Welcome back. All right, news of the day video for all you fine people on the internet today, Tuesday, November the 15th. And I'm starting off with, I mean, it may not seem like huge news, but hey, for those of us who are collectors, it kind of is. Reverse Retros released today through team stores. Retailers outside of the National Hockey League and team stores will be selling those and should have those available starting on the 20th. Now, when it comes to shipments and supplies and demand and all that fun stuff, I don't expect them to be available for very long. So I immediately loaded up the Adidas app that I have on my phone and ordered 3 hats. I ordered Boston, I ordered Calgary, and I ordered Winnipeg because the logos on those reverse retro hats will match a lot of the jerseys in my collection. I didn't worry about the rest because honestly, I already have a lot of hats that already have a lot of the logos that are being used or something very similar. So I was like, yeah, no, I'll get those 3 and be done with it. And then the jerseys I should have within the next couple of weeks. I'm not doing an unboxing with that either, but I will be putting them into a video. I'm going to do something fun with them in a video once I get them. And we can have that discussion when that arrives. Barry Trotz, who seems to end up in the news here and there. I get the feeling that the media really wants to see Trotz back in the league, and why wouldn't they? I want to see Trotz back in the league too. He is basically saying that nobody's made him an offer yet, which makes sense. There aren't any coaches that have been fired at this point, although there has to be a couple that are getting close. But he's willing to return. He was also quoted not that long ago saying he'd be intrigued by being able to coach an original 6 team, so that was out there. But yeah, so Trotz is still out there. He is very likely to be a replacement coach at some point. So if you're a Jets fan thinking, well, he's taking the year off and he's going to come coach the Jets, it may not end up happening. And that was definitely something that it looked like could end up happening. You know, Bonus would then transition to be the assistant coach. But yeah, at this point, Trotz is willing to come back. It doesn't mean he's going to, and he can take his time, right? No rush if you're him, and he's probably going to have plenty of suitors if he waits long enough. The Canucks have put Studnicka on IR. They're not saying what it is. It's an undisclosed injury. Lockwood has been recalled. I like Lockwood. He's got a good work ethic, so that should be fine. But of course, for the Canucks, it's been a disaster. And they're in Buffalo tonight. I do expect Buffalo to end up winning that game to go to 8-8 on the season. So we'll see how it turns out. Joseph has been fined for a high stick in yesterday's game on Sebastian Aho, the New York Islanders version, not the Carolina version. So yeah, he gets fined. It's not a suspension, but it's kind of, and I always say this is basically just a slap on the wrist. Don't do it again kind of thing. So he gets the fine, so that way nobody's happy. Ehlers, Winnipeg Jets news here, positive. Lower body injury for Ehlers, but he may be skating tomorrow. He has that option. So he's getting closer. Still no exact timeline on when Ehlers is set to return. The Jets do miss him. Their record is good, but, I mean, Nick Ehlers, he's a good player at both ends of the rink. He can score. He can do a little bit of everything, add some physicality, too. Ehlers is kind of a little bit of everything for them, and so it'll be great when he's back in the lineup. Just don't know when yet. Columbus, speaking of a former Jet here, Roslovic is a healthy scratch tonight. Kent Johnson is in. So Roslovic, who has had a rough start to the season, now a healthy scratch, and it can just be that fast. You know, he's acquired by Columbus, has a really good start with Columbus, wants to be there, and it's all just great. And then here we are about a year later, and he's a healthy scratch. So we'll see how long he's held out of the lineup and what that does for him when he's able to get back into the lineup, right? So Roslovic's one that I was a bigger fan of, I'll say 3 years ago than I am at this point. I get why he's a healthy scratch. I absolutely get it. Buffalo making a couple of changes. Bjork and Sheahan have been called up. Yoki Haru is set to return for them as their blue line starts to look a little better and a little healthier. So that's good news. I mean, Yoki Haru's not like one of the big names. Samuelson's the big name they're missing on the blue line, right? Just from a defensive aspect. But getting Yoki Haru back should help. Bjork and Sheahan are both players who've played in the NHL plenty. So we should see them in the lineup for Buffalo, and that may, change the way things go for them. Good news for New Jersey Devils fans with goaltenders. It was rare last season, but here it is this season. Vanacek starts tonight against the Habs. So Vanacek, of course, got hurt the other night. They did call up Dawes. I was wondering how long they'd have to go with Schmid and Dawes. That happened last year too. But Vanacek is back. So they're still going to be without Blackwood for a while, but with Vanacek back, that absolutely helps. So yeah, best of luck to New Jersey on going for 10. If they reach 10, well, then I have to do a video on their winning streak, right? So we'll see if that does take place tonight. The Boston Bruins continue to just baffle and bewilder people. And now they're spending money to baffle and bewilder too. So now they've retained a law firm to review the player vetting process. So remember when they signed Mitchell Miller and Don Sweeney was asked, like, did you do this? Nope. Did you do this? Nope. And they were all really basic, simple things that you would think they would look into with this case. So I'm not sure. To me, the law firm side of it seems kind of heavy-handed. Like they screwed up. And I mean, the one way to look at it, if you want to be cynical, is trying to find who's at fault here. It's not us. So there's that side of it. But yeah, so a law firm has been brought in. Just sounds expensive, and I guarantee that it is. And we'll see how that goes. The player vetting process. It's so weird because we never really need this in hockey, I wouldn't think. Not in general for most signings. And in this case, it was a move that a lot of teams wouldn't have made. There are a few who would have. Boston's taking a lot of flack right now. There are other teams that would have done that as well. But here we are. They're bringing in a law firm to figure out what they did wrong when we've all been telling them what went wrong here. That there was not proper vetting done. And it just requires a few phone calls to verify that the proper vetting wasn't done. So yeah, that it'll be interesting to see if we find out what the review tells us. If they just tell the Bruins and we never hear what happened there. But yeah, that was a tough one for Boston. And you know, they wear it and they should, and it's on them. But it's just simple. It's really simple vetting. Interesting news out of Toronto. So Matt Murray, who we knew was coming back soon, he comes back tonight. He will be in net against the Pittsburgh Penguins. So he's returning. He's returning in a road game, and he's returning in a road game against his former teammates in Pittsburgh. I don't know how many guys he played with, though, that are still there, with turnover being so high in the National Hockey League, but it'll be a good number of players. And then we get into the question of, so does this favor the Penguins then? Because the Penguins know how to beat him. Or would it favor Murray on some level because he knows the tendencies of the shooters, the tendencies of the players, and he knows the coach well too, so he might know the systems pretty well. So we'll see how that goes tonight, but it should be an interesting game. There are, of course, 9 games tonight in the NHL. The preview, of course, being put up this morning, and then I spent a long time putting that the other video together of the contracts. And once I was through the first column, I was like, oh, this is going to take a long time. But, you know, it got done and the numbers are okay, so you guys seem to at least have clicked on it, so I appreciate that. I appreciate when I do a madness video like that and people watch it. That's not always been the case, so I do appreciate that. In this case. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. Remember, tomorrow is Wednesday, and every second Wednesday we do a panic index, so I will be doing that tomorrow. Don't let me forget. But hey, because I'm at that age where I forget everything. But thank you guys so much for all your support as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And hey, I will talk to you again soon.